Do it. It's round 5. It's time to duel. Kevin versus Jordan. Kashtira versus Voiceless Voice. Will Jordan be the voice for the voiceless? Will Skull Guardian come down with low? I want to see it here in a feature match. I want to see how potent this deck can be when it has access to its cards and it goes first. But of course, we aren't seeing a pre-preparation of rights. We're not seeing anything. It's just going to be set to pass. Oh, I'm sorry, Voiceless. I shouldn't have done this to you. But maybe they're, useful trap cards and he's going to be able to stall out the turn. Now Kevin is on the draw. He draws the 6.
So I saw a copy of Birth. I see a copy of Infinite Impermanence. I don't know if I actually see any of the ideal opening Kashtira monsters. It looks like a Scareclaw Kashtira, which certainly isn't one of them.
Activate Scareclaw.
Ooh, not the first action you want to do, but it is something. So the Scareclaw Cash is going to allow him to banish a card from his hand, and it's going to be a Kashtira Birth to special summon it to the field.
That's fine. Anything else? No. Okay.
Link away for Lightheart.
Theosis on Scareclaw.
He does have Theosis.
So this is going to allow him to get access to either Fenrir or Unicorn. And if he gets specifically Fenrir, he'll be able to get Riseheart, and then that can banish Theosis from the deck to increase its level to 7, which allows him to return the Birth back to his hand.
Ooh.
So we can get that Birth back. Another thing he could have actually considered doing was normal summoning the Scareclaw. With Birth. Yeah, with Birth, and then not having to banish it, and then just activating Theosis. You forego your normal summon, but at this point, you're probably not going to utilize a normal summon this turn anyway. So that may have been a potential play as well.
Ooh, Super Polymerization. Love this card. Going to discard the ritual spell, but
he can't summon
Fenrir Earth?
Yes, touche.
Yeah. Theosis has to be a different attribute.
Yes, touche. He actually has to go into...
But this is huge. If he summons a different attribute, he can't Super Poly him, right? Because it'll be different attributes, different types.
I think you go into Riseheart here to get Theosis, yeah.
I mean, that's rough. That is a rough situation where your opponent makes an illegal move and then you have to set back the card that now your opponent just has good information on. Doesn't feel good.
The one thing about it, actually, I think getting Unicorn banished here is okay, but you don't have the Theosis that's banished. If he searched Unicorn and then he searched the Birth to hand, he could at least make an Exceed play and then Birth back the Unicorn, which might be some layer of interaction against certain decks, because with Birth, Unicorn, you'll be able to banish from the graveyard face down and then banish from the extra deck. But this is also another way that you can get access to Birth, is to go immediately here into Dark Arm.
Dark Arm, Dragon of Annihilation on the field of powerful rank 7. He's going to be able to use the effect to destroy one of these spell or trap cards. I'm assuming he's going to choose the one that's not Super Poly. Yeah, unfortunate here. Yeah, I would be a little... Oh, it's also Super Poly. Yeah, I think Jordan is a little upset about that. But you got to maintain your composure, focus on the rest of the game. But he does banish that Theosis, like you mentioned, to add the Birth. He's going to destroy them both anyway, so in the end of the day, having to reveal that Super Poly didn't matter too much, as long as this was always like his route to go.
Now he can Birth back the Unicorn and now use the effect to get a follow-up. So this is another sequence that he could have done.
Yeah, so I think this was always Kevin's plan, was to go this route to clear both of the spell and trap card zone. So no harm, no foul in revealing that.
Unicorn effect to search.
And now the Birth summons Unicorn. So we're kind of seeing why Kashtira is still a contender. I mean, he's able to play through a couple spell and trap cards that are meta picks to line up against the Fire deck. Not as useful against Kashtira. It was almost useful.
Yeah. You don't usually Theosis Scareclaw Kashtira early in the turn.
Yeah, it's kind of...
It even caught me for a second where I'm like, oh, you can get Fenrir, but obviously you can't because it shares the same attribute. It's just one of those unusual sequences.
Indeed it is. But now Kevin is in the driver's seat. So he's going to attack with Unicorn, use the effect to take a peek into the extra deck and banish one of those cards face down. He does only play one copy of Dynamundo. I know you noticed that when we were looking at the deck list before the match started. Do you think that's something he's going to think about going after?
If he knows this matchup, he absolutely should. Another thing that's going to be really interesting, he's going to see the Shadal package.
Oh,
you see here that Jordan has actually not only brought Voiceless Voice, he has a Shadal Schism in his deck and a Shadal package in his extra deck. This is knowledge that Kevin is getting that wouldn't otherwise be given to him.
That is huge. A good point there. And it looks like he is going after SP Little Knight, another usually a one of in a lot of extra decks. Solid to hit with the Kashtira Unicorn.
It's interesting. Some of the Nadir Servant targets are actually kind of hidden still. Cards like Elder Entity, some cards like Elder Entity rather, are now revealed as a result of seeing the extra deck. So Nadir Servant is a card that now he'll be able to assume is in Jordan's deck as well.
Definitely. Now it looks like Jordan is going to start things off with the ritual spell.
Prayers of the Voiceless Voice. The prayers we have finally seen.
Skull Guardian!
It's our third time watching Voiceless Voice.
Did he tribute a low at least? I don't know. I didn't see what he tributed.
I was too excited with the prayers.
The Skull Guardian not as strong without low on the field, but it's immediately met by infinite permanence. And I think Jordan has seen enough just that minute. Jordan sure hopes so. He draws his opening hand. I see Diviner. Diviner at least gets you to low. I see a barrier, the Voiceless Voice. Finally we're going to see some action.
But Diviner just got in.
No, I spoke too soon. No, at least it's a quarter century secret rare one. I know that's what I would be saying. Like, at least it looks nice.
I think he has 2 in his hand too, which if your opponent's going to open shifter, at least if they have multiple.
All right, so he's going to be able to use the barrier, activate. He's going to be able to add a Voiceless Voice. Let's see what he decides to get. Man, finally has a full hand, but gets met by Dimension Shifter. Rough, especially going to a tournament where you're like, I'm going to play against a lot of Snake Eye decks, especially if I'm 4-0. You think you're going to run into fire, but that's Yu-Gi-Oh!
No, you're going to run into Shifter.
So normal summon of Low. Low's going to be able to add a card from the deck to the hand as well. Let's see what Jordan decides to grab. Be able to place a spell or trap face up. Going to grab the trap since he has the spell already. The spell barrier has a cool effect. Really lives up to the name barrier. If he has that ritual monster and Low on the field, he won't be able to target any of his cards.
The big issue here is that he's going to typically rely on Low to conduct the ritual summon, but it has to go to the graveyard in order to be revived, so he's not going to be able to do that. And then in addition to that, he wouldn't be able to use Saphira from hand and then ditch the ritual spell to the graveyard and then use Saphira's. So this dimensional shifter is massive. You know, sometimes when there's newer strategies, you have to stop and think, how does Shifter line up against this deck? Unfortunately for our Voiceless Voice player here, it lines up really well.
Really well.
Might have read the cards.
Yeah.
It looks like Kevin wants to check what these do, make sure he knows all their effects.
So barriers protection, he's going to need Low and also a light ritual monster. So he's going to need to get that second piece onto the field. Radiance would allow him to put that on the field, though. So it's a matter of whether or not he has that access. He needs another light ritual in his hand.
Let's see what he can do here.
Spell,
I mean, even through Shifter, this is the best thing we've seen from Voiceless Voice. It's definitely a really good deck. I mean, there's a reason why this team is 4-0.
One thing to note, Radiance can only be activated in the main phase, so you might be looking at this field and think, why doesn't he preemptively use Radiance to put the Skull Guardian on the field? He actually can only do that in the main phase.
No Kashtira. This is huge. This is the moment. This is the opportunity for Jordan and his Voiceless Voice strategy.
Yeah, this is huge. And now he gets to play the Diviner that we saw him open in his original hand that would have been shut down, that was shut down by Shifter. No longer.
Yep, and he has the option. He does. We saw with that Unicorn, he does play Herald of Arclight, or he can go ahead and send down the Trias, but it's met by Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring.
That's fine.
So that's, I don't think that's the card you want to Ash. Well, I guess he would probably, in this case, since he has Low, would send Herald of Arclight to grab something like Skull Guardian.
I think you have to Ash it here because I think you just have to hope that the other cards that he has aren't that great. The problem here is he still has the barrier on the field.
I'll chain Cosmic Target.
Okay,
Is that the problem?
Why?
He's able to chain that Cosmic to the barrier to banish it.
So barrier allows him to search every single turn, which is why it has great staying power.
Nadir. Yeah.
Oh, here we are, Nadir Servant. This is another card that wasn't able to be activated with effect on the opening turn because of Dimension Shifter.
All his starter cards are just right next to each other, and he has all of them. He has Low, Diviner, Nadir's this hand. He didn't have any in game number 1, but game 2, Voiceless Voice operating really well. And sending Garura with Nadir Servant is huge because you're able to get a card and draw a fresh card from Garura.
He'll presumably be searching Dogmatica Maximus. I love Nadir Servant.
Oh, it's such a cool card. Really strong. Plus, like, all that Dogmatica and Albaz lore are just fantastic. So it does add that. Maximus gets the draw from the Garura. Maybe we'll get to see that Shadal, access to the Shadal engine. I mean, he's going to try and finish him off this turn if he's able to. If he can get Skull Guardian on the field, it's huge. He's going to summon the Maximus.
This is also a strategy where you virtually never see Nibiru against Voiceless Voice. It just is never going to be live, and if it is live, Skull Guardian's going to have been active. So it's one of those things where if he can put 7,000 damage on the field, which he only has to do 7,000 because of Cosmic Cyclone, he might be able to win.
Yeah, Skull Guardian with the low is 4,100 attack. Yeah, doubles. Pretty big.
But he put Maximus in defense mode, which I think might indicate that
it's not coming down. The Maximus effect is activating to send 2. He could also just forget like it's not turn 1. Sometimes I've seen that with a lot of players, but being 4-0, I don't think that's something Jordan's going to overlook. He sends a couple monsters to the graveyard, including Acompanhe. Acompanhe's going to allow him to add a Shadal card from his deck to his hand and then send one to the graveyard, or send a card to the graveyard. So he's going to send Dogwood.
That's an interesting one.
I mean, I guess Kashtira would give you a ton of life points.
Counter battle?
Yeah.
And if you're aware of the Access Kotaker combo that I was commenting on earlier, it makes it so that that's not 8,000 damage.
Very true, yeah. I mean, if you have Dogwood, it's tough to do damage through that. If every monster you summon's giving them 2,500 life points here and there, but just a couple of attacks. It looks like he's setting up for Shadal Schism, which is pretty strong against Kashtira.
Oh, yeah.
If you have something to like protect the window from like a Fenrir attack or something like that. Oh, we got an update on one of our other games. It does look like Team Kamen Rider got the first game at table C, which is, this is the Team Kashtira basically. That's what I want to call them.
Yeah, Team Kashtira really is. The entire team is on Kashtira.
So we're going to see a normal summon of Kashtira Rise Hard. This is going to prompt Jordan to use Shadal Schism, banishing Acompanhe and a Dark from the graveyard to summon Winda.
The fact that the normal summon has now been conducted, the only way to get that off the field is to crash into a monster and then summon Fenrir, but then you don't have the battle phase to use Fenrir's effect to banish face down. So I think Jordan in our Voiceless Voice might be in a pretty winning position right now.
All right, here's Theosis targeting Rise Heart. He's going to summon a Kashtira monster with a different attribute.
That's fine.
Okay.
I like Kevin, though. He's going to continue to push, maybe put the Fenrir in defense, and then pass, well, probably attack over the Diviner or the Low, and then pass turn, and maybe Jordan uses a monster effect.
You only get the special summon.
Yeah, got to double check on Winda. It's always around, but not a card that's seen a lot of play recently.
Ooh, this is a nice one.
Ooh, Scareclaw
Which
Cash
shuts down the El Shadal window.
very strong.
And can attack in defense mode. This is an interaction that, now that I'm seeing it, it's kind of an obvious one in these two style of decks, but not one that you typically would see. El Shadal Winda is not necessarily the most popular card, but the ability for you to special summon out of the deck with Theosis, but it's able to still attack is huge.
Does look like we are entering the battle phase. Infinite permanence on the Scareclaw means he's not going to be able to attack in defense mode.
Let's see.
Protecting the window here.
It also shuts off the Rise Heart attacking into it as well.
Oh, just to negate the effect for the rest
Yeah.
of the
Declare attack on low.
Low? Yeah, sure. I'll take
1450.
All right, so Low's going to the graveyard. There's no Skull Guardian to protect her just yet.
Put me at, what was that, 1550? Or,
So 6450.
Both these teams are undefeated, though. The Kashtira team does have one draw.
I took 1550 already. So
It'll be interesting if Maximus goes off again on the following turn. Maybe
Four
sending
cards.
Elder Entity and Atis to the graveyard, because I'm looking at this field and I'm wondering how they're getting over the Scareclaw Kashtira in defense mode with only one special
what do you
summon.
have?
And that's in a zone, it's in your link zone, of what your extra monster zone, but the location in which you'd link summon.
Phase 2.
Yeah.
I guess you might be able to use the fact that Diviner is a tuner.
Banishing.
Might have
that would
access-
be-
yeah,
that
you might
would
have
be
access to
interesting.
something in the extra deck.
That would be pretty interesting. Now, it looks like Jordan is up. Oh, no, but he's not up yet. Looks like Kevin.
I think we're doing Rise Heart's effect.
Okay, Kevin hasn't used the Rise Heart effect. Might as well banish 3 cards. I thought Jordan was about to draw, but he's about to banish the top 3 cards for the Rise Heart.
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. You banish Birth so that if you are able to use Rise Heart again on the next turn, you banish Theosis to add the Birth to hand.
I'll pass here.
All right, not much here from Kevin. Just the Scareclaw Cash in defense mode, Rise Heart in attack mode. 2 cards in hand, it looks like. And now Jordan's going to start his turn by link summoning away the Winda and the Diviner.
That's one way to clear out your
Oh,
windows.
it could be a synchro summon still.
Oh, I guess it is true, too.
Okay, SP Little Knight.
I'm thinking on if
That's
I
fair.
want to activate effect or not.
I was curious if there was a way that he could keep Wind on the field the entire turn and also clear the Scareclaw Kashtira, maybe valuing the effectiveness of
Normal Diviner?
El Shadal Window, but he seems to have lined up a play where he doesn't even need to do that.
Oh, we did miss on table A. It looks like Albert 2-0'd his opponent. So they are, the other team, Team JAB, is up a game. So if either of the other players on Team JAB wins, this match will be over. But they are both down game 1. So it looks like Albert is really hoping on his teammates to run it back. And Jordan is well on his way.
Scoop this game.
Okay.
Yep, but it looks like Kevin has seen enough. Voiceless Voice taking game number 2. Our winners. It's going to be up to Jordan and his Voiceless Voice against Kevin and his Kashtira strategy. Kevin not opening up as bad as he did in the last game. Definitely has some cards he can play at least.
So here is a really important thing with the Kashtira strategy that you have to decide. He has Fenrir, he has Birth.
Sure.
That is enough to go into the Decode Talker play that I talked about. He also has Pot of Prosperity, though, which means if you choose to do that, you have to forego the draw of Decode Talker, at least on your turn. You still get the draw during your opponent's draw phase, but it is something to consider. There are a few non-combos in this strategy.
A little bit of Nambo.
A little bit of one, yeah.
So Fenrir is adding the Unicorn. Let's see if the Birth is up next. As you mentioned, this is like the go-to play.
Ooh, the fact that he has Rise Heart in hand also, it kind of depends how committed he wants to be around certain hand interruptions. But because he has the Rise Heart, he actually can do a play where he uses that later on in the turn and banishes a Theosis and returns the Fenrir or Unicorn that he banished to summon the Scareclaw Kashtira back to his hand for follow-up. So not only does he have the Decode Talker play here, he's got sort of the full Decode Talker play.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep, and that Infinite Impermanence shutting him down. Not going to be able to add Theosis.
Oh, he has 2 copies of Pot of Prosperity. You kind of have to use one of the copies and forego the draw of the Decode Talker. There are occasions where sometimes you might hold the Pot of Prosperity, but usually you want to just forego the draw on your turn because the ability to see 3 or 6 cards off the top is a little bit better. Probably only 3, to be honest, because the Decode Talker play requires you to utilize several different cards. A Draco Sack, 2 Link Spiders, the Crystal Heart, and then also the Heat Soul.
It really adds up after a while.
If you banish 6 here, you might not be able to use your pot on the next turn.
I can definitely see that. And the fact that he summoned the Rise Heart here also leads me to believe that he is going for the Prosperity at some point because he's now locked into Xyz monsters. But it looks like he's still holding off on the Prosperity. Maybe he wants to thin his deck out as much as possible and try and dig for some of those side deck cards. Like we just saw at the front of his deck there, Summon Limit would be a good one he wants to draw into. But getting access to Kashtira Preparations is huge. Yep. Preparations lines up really well into like an Infinite Impermanence they activate on their turn. You get take a little peek at their hand.
Which is always valuable. Yeah, Kashtira Ogre is really sort of the epitome of when Kashtira is trying to play the advantage game.
Yeah.
Here comes that Prosperity. Very shiny. Is he going for 3 or 6? Oh, he's going on 6.
Yeah.
So this likely means he's going to play around Nibiru and pass with this field.
Especially if he's grab something like Summon Limit. Oh, the last card is Summon Limit, and the other one before that is Solemn Judgment. Both great options.
Because I don't think he's going to make any more summons now to risk Nibiru. This field doesn't look all that threatening, but the fact that there's the Fenrir banish, the Unicorn banish from the extract, and the Ogre is pretty solid. Unicorn doesn't necessarily line up against most Voiceless Voice strategies, but the fact that this Voiceless Voice strategy is playing the Dogmatica package, it could actually be pretty pivotal.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But it looks like he's really contemplating here on this Prosperity. Yeah, I was like, if he doesn't take the Summon Limit, I'm a monkey's uncle. Like, that has to be the go-to there. Summon Limit.
You don't have an out to like evenly matched. Do you have?
You just keep Summon Limit. If you have evenly matched, then you just keep that Summon Limit.
You're not winning with Kashtira under your own Summon Limit, though. That's the problem.
Yep.
All right, so play is onto Jordan. He's going to activate Barrier in the same zone as Birth, so he doesn't have to worry about something like Infinite Impermanence.
Yeah.
Let's see what he decides to add. It's going to be Saphira. Oh, looks like he's thinking, wants to check the hand again real quick to make sure he doesn't already have Saphira.
Yeah.
The beauty of Saphira is it actually allows you to conduct a ritual summon that doesn't require you to actually activate a spell card that could trigger Birth.
Ooh, that is pretty cool. He's going to definitely want to do that before the Birth banishes the Saphira out of the graveyard. But now he gets to discard Saphira to add a Voiceless Voice card.
Send it down. Anything?
So he gets Prayers and Skull Guardian. Prayers goes to the graveyard, Skull Guardian to the hand.
He's going to want to time his Fenrir really well this turn because if he allows Voiceless Voice to establish low plus ritual, he's not going to be able to target So it's going to be really important to use Fenrir. Okay, see, this is what I'm saying. I want to say preemptively, but early enough in the turn.
Top 5, right?
Yeah, top 5.
What? Oh, you're right. I did not.
So here he's going Fenrir banishing the barrier.
Yeah.
And I was using Ogre. Not an effective. Oh.
You don't want to see evenly matched after the barrier's on the field. Oh, maybe like the idea was thinning out his deck, then going to the prosperity, but does he have a way to get the barrier off the field?
No, it just got targeted by Fenrir.
Oh, it did?
So this is Ogre's effect.
Oh, this is Ogre. Oh, I thought he prosperity. Okay, I was all confused. I looked down for 1 second, looked up, saw a lot of cards with the Ogre, not prosperity. This is way worse.
Yeah, with Nadir Servant, but typically allowing you to draw prosperity doesn't typically
makes a lot of sense.
Well with the Nadir because you really want to sink Guru every time.
I guess you pick between the two, but do you think when he sees that evenly after he targets the barrier, he gets a little concerned, like, oh no, maybe he has evenly in the hand? Talents is good here. Drawing 2 means he's looking for something. He's gonna lose the Saphira and the prayers.
Yeah.
If Kevin resolves
he's going to
birth.
draw the evenly.
So that I'll trigger birth.
Oh, is it still on top?
Yeah, I'll just hit these 3.
Enter battle phase.
Battle phase?
There it is. Some of the scariest words in Yu-Gi-Oh!
This is amazing. Maybe you do banish it from the top of the deck just to play around the ability to draw into it.
Does he keep the summon limit? Does he keep the Kashtira Unicorn? He's going to keep the Unicorn. Okay. So that maybe he has something from the hand to use. Oh, man. Let's go. Voiceless.
This is one of the most back-breaking evenly matched we've seen in a while. I was going to say that, you were talking about, you just take summon limit. And then, do you just hedge and take solemn judgment, though? I mean, in retrospect, you wish he certainly did, but
it does look like he is going to end up keeping summon limit. But a deck that can play through summon limit is Voiceless Voice. Like, it only needs 2 summons, right? Well technically 3, I guess.
Yeah, the revival is pretty big.
Low effect?
Yeah.
So he's going to summon low, use low's effect. This is summon number 1.
Problem is we've already used barrier. And Saphira is no longer banished. Now banished face down, is no longer in the graveyard to be used. So I don't know how he's actually going to ritual summon this turn. He also lost a prayers that was in the graveyard, which is valuable as well.
Yeah, he's just going to set a face down behind the low. He knows that card is summon limit. Going to link away the low into a link Karibo. Might as well flip it. Thinking if he wants to flip it with the summon limit or maybe wait for an attempt at a ritual summon.
I don't think you flip it up.
Go ahead.
Yep, does look like he holds off on it, and then Jordan's going to pass with link Karibo on the field.
Because 1 birth, 1 Fenrir, 1 unicorn could be huge in getting him back into the game, reestablishing his field, or this.
Pressure Planet Race Off coming down for Kevin.
Game 3. Planet's fine.
Okay.
Ooh, Planet is resolving. Because if he can get through this field and then flip summon limit, it's sort of as if the evenly match didn't matter.
Got Unicorn.
That's fine.
Anything on res?
No.
Okay.
All right, Unicorn to the
Special
hand.
Unicorn.
Special summons from the hand since he controls no monsters.
Effect the Unicorn to search.
Yeah.
Ooh, birth getting to his hand here is huge.
Grab Theosis.
Okay, so he's going to go Theosis.
Activate Theosis, target Unicorn.
Looks like Jordan is considering his options in response to this Theosis.
Special Fenrir. Fenrir effect to search.
That is fine.
So here potentially we could see Scareclaw Kashtira.
Grab Rise Heart.
Oh, Rise Heart, okay. I really wish I could see his banished pile really quick. That it's face down.
Just to know.
But some of the early things that he banished, because it's that giant evenly match. Okay, I didn't think there were any face-up banished cards.
Special Rise Heart or effect to summon.
Here he's activating the effect. Now he's locked into. Well, he was locked into it after Theosis. Seed monsters.
Banishing.
All right, looks like no new updates, but Albert still won it. Table 1 team JAB up a game.
Yeah, the reason he actually didn't search birth is all of his Kashtira monsters got banished face down. I kind of instinctually assumed there would be something in his graveyard, but they actually just all got banished face down because he left them all 4 on the field. So that does make sense as to why you went into Rise Heart and Fenrir into Rise Heart.
I like the trap.
All right, so here comes the Dark Arm Dragon. He's going to flip up Barrier, but not use the effects, since I don't think he can.
No, he's going to use Radiance. If he can, I mean, if he can do it. He has to have a light ritual or a spell in his hand.
Or target the trap.
I'll chain.
He does. He's going to activate the effect.
Yeah.
So he must have one in hand. Okay, yep.
Okay, the Skull Guardian he grabbed earlier.
And now he's going to be able to special summon the low from the graveyard.
Sorry, thank you.
Yeah. He lost. This is game 3. Yeah. And you?
All right, so he's going to summon the Nuzu Saravis, the monster effect version.
And then this is what can allow him to go into the Skull Guardian, which would then allow him to summon the low back. So when your opponent activates a card or effect, he's going to be able to return this back to his hand to special summon a light ritual from his hand or deck.
And then a new chain, I'll trigger Theos' target birth to add
I'll
that.
chain.
Yeah.
So he's going to chain to summon the Skull Guardian, as you said. And now he's going to try and summon the low. But he has the summon limit set, right?
Yeah, he could chain that.
Yeah, all he's
Which I
do
would
is,
do here.
yeah, he just has a flip of the summon limit. The low won't come back out. The Skull Guardian isn't protecting anything, so it's basically useless.
And he would stop the not the activation, but the fulfillment of the barrier effect that would stop him from targeting with a Dark Arm on the field, which he obviously wants to do.
On resolution of that, I'll use Unicorn's effect.
Blows.
Yeah, on resolution of that.
So as I mentioned earlier, that Unicorn doesn't typically line up as a big card against Voiceless Voice, but you know, here, taking away SP, not too bad. I still think I
like taking away SP with summon limit face up. It's kind of like, oh, here's your one way that can easily out it, but now it's gone.
Not really though, because you need an extra deck monster.
Again, detach.
True. I mean, you know, it'd be the Link Karibo or something, but it's still
Not
tough.
going to be on the field. I think I would have done the Natess so that Nadir's not an instant out to it.
That is a good option. Kevin kind of in the driver's seat here. That summon limit is coming in clutch.
That's fine.
And that was the one card he kept on his field when he got evenly matched, and now we're seeing why.
How is he double?
Low's in grave.
Oh,
He's
oh,
41.
concentrate.
Yeah.
Oops.
Ooh.
Oh, he didn't realize that it's doubled while Low was in the
Low was in the
graveyard.
How much does that take?
What is that?
He's 41.
41 and you're 30, 28.
Yeah, I think he just
28.
Dark Armed the Link Karibo.
1300?
Just attack the Link and then force out the effect from Link Karibo.
Oh, no, that's first damage.
Okay,
No, he didn't Dark Arm the Skull Guardian.
Puts you at 67?
Oh no.
67.
Slight misstep here from Kevin.
Main phase 2.
Sure.
Activate Prosperity.
Sure.
Activating that second copy of Prosperity. This time it's 3 for sure, right? There's no way he can do 6.
Yeah, he was able to do 6 because he just gave up on ever using the Kotaker play. Which also means he gives up access Kotaker as well.
But he can't summon anymore because he's under the limit.
I'll banish 3.
That's fine.
Jordan letting his teammates know what kind of situation he's in. This very well could be the last game of this round.
I don't really know what he can find here, unfortunately for our Kashtira player.
I feel like Smashing Ground might be good enough. Like he just needs to get this Skull Guardian off the field if possible, but even then it's tough. Because I mean, I guess he can always go into Typhon, right? Oh no, he can.
He's under
He's under some limit, and I think he only summons from the extra deck once.
Yeah, you're not like going into Typhon much against.
Voiceless Voice at all, yeah. Does he go for Ash or Solemn here? He's not going to grab that Race Off. I would doubt it. Looks like he doesn't want any of them. I'm going to put them all back.
I got the Ash.
That's fine.
Goes for Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring.
Okay. Yeah, I will pass here.
Draw?
Yeah.
All right, passes.
Standby?
Yeah.
Mate.
Yeah.
So once you just get low onto the field, I'll feel really good for Jordan. I think we're already in fantastic shape.
Yeah. Leaving that Skull Guardian in the field is tough. I'm assuming he's going to be able to, I mean, he has the barrier face up already.
I'll go barrier effect.
He's going to use the effect. Kevin did grab the Ash Blossom off Pot of Prosperity. Is this going to, I mean, you have to use it here.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to. You just have to hope they don't have another way to get too low.
Yeah, I dash it.
That's fine.
It's It's an important thing to understand with these new cards. You can only negate with Skull Guardian if Lo is actually physically on the field. The attack boost is in both places, both the field and graveyard. It's a really important interaction against the Skull Guardian strategy. Well, the Voiceless Voice strategy with Skull Guardian, of course.
Indeed, now it looks like Saphira is going to come down from Jordan. It's going to send that Prayers of the Voiceless Voice to the graveyard to add another copy of Skull Guardian to the hand. Now while Prayers is in the graveyard, if a monster, original monster leaves the field, he can special summon a different one from the deck, so that's going to be valuable. He's going to banish the Saravis to summon Skull Guardian, and then Skull Guardian is going to allow Lo to come back to the field.
Finally, I think this is the first time all weekend I have seen Barrier, Skull Guardian, Lo, all together. Prayers have been answered on the field at once.
Has the Radiance as well. This is what the deck is supposed to do. Gives the voice to the Voiceless. And now he's going to battle phase. Jordan's going to take down that Dark Armed with Skull Guardian.
11.
Okay, yeah. 11.
56.
Direct attack, 4,100. That monster's attack is doubled because it is the Protector of Lo. And now he's the summon limit working in Jordan's favor.
1,500.
Yeah.
Always one of the drawbacks of playing Summon Limit and Anti-Spell Fragrance. You know, it seems like, I wouldn't say for every game, I don't think it's a 1-to-1 ratio, but it seems like maybe every 3 games that Summon Limit wins you, there's that other, there's a 4th game where it does the complete opposite. Same with Anti-Spell Fragrance. I've seen so many games where a player starts with Anti-Spell Fragrance,
Great, right? Yeah.
and the next thing you know, they're under Anti-Spell Fragrance and lose. They top deck Pot of Prosperity.
Oh, seen it so many times. That is so true. Definitely, there's a downside. It's great as long as you're stopping your opponent until it's not, and then it's stopping you. So it looks like he is going to, did he use, no, he's still under summon limit, so he's not going to Saravis. He's going to activate another copy of Barrier and pass.
That makes sense. We saw Cosmic Cyclone in this match. So by activating a second copy, even though it doesn't have any effect inherently to search, it does give you an extra bit of protection. And now the Skull Guardian is going to be shuffled back into the deck, the one that was summoned off Saphira.
But still
off of Saravis. All the names.
There's 2 Saphiras, 2 Saravis.
Yeah.
But they're all good.
Let's see.
He still has that other Skull Guardian on the field for that negate.
What's interesting is you usually don't actually see that shuffle effect because you can just Dino Mondo.
Oh, you just, link it up. But the summon limit is...
Yeah, it's just a weird situation where you actually...
That's what I love about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like, no matter how many times you play, you're still going to encounter new scenarios. Every game kind of feels like a fresh game, depending on like how the cards are drawn. A lot of other games kind of follow a formulaic pattern, but I really like what the side deck provides for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game.
Ooh. I don't know if there's any Theosis left in his... Oh.
He's going to normal summon Kashtira Riseheart, try to banish a card from the deck, and the top 3 cards from Jordan's deck. Let's see what he goes with.
It has to be Theosis. There's not really another option.
Theosis lets you add a banished Kashtira card back to your hand when it's banished.
Once again, looking for the following 2 teams to the main event stage. Team Just the Runic Tip. Team TK's Disciples.
So here we have Theosis adding back from the banished pile.
Okay.
But I'm not really sure what that Fenrir is going to do unless he has Birth. And he might. I think I see it.
Activate Birth.
And there it is, Kashtira Birth.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is probably going to get negated because if he doesn't have another Birth, he's checking to make sure it destroys it, or else he would just be able to use the effects.
Yeah, you got this one.
Oh, Kevin is going to concede, and Jordan wins with Voiceless Voice. And not only did he win this round, he's won the previous